up on debate. Straight to the other big debate tonight then. The past is catching up with Karti Chidambaram, son of former finance minister and senior Congress leader Pioneer Chidambaram. In a surprise move, the CBI today arrested him from the Chennai airport, alleging that he has not been cooperating with investigative agency in the INX Media money laundering case. The CBI's main charge against Karti is that he facilitated indirect foreign investments worth over 300 crore rupees to INX Media at a time the permissible limit was around 4.62 crore rupees. Karti was picked up by CBI sleuths from the Chennai airport this morning has been flown to Delhi for questioning in the case.
Now, interestingly, the arrest comes at a time when the Modi government is facing a lot of flak for back-to-back bank scams involving thousands of crores of rupee. Pointing to the timing of the arrest, the main opposition, and that's the Congress party, says the move is a part of a well-thought-out strategy to divert attention from the mega bank loot, where the perpetrators of the crime have actually fled the country. Karti's arrest raises several questions. Has Karti been unfairly targeted in a bid to silence his dad, Karti Chidambaram, who has been spearheading the attacks against the government? Can Karti absolve himself from the charges mounted against him? Does the CBI have a watertight case against Karti? The big political slugfest following Karti Chidambaram's arrest, that is a big topic of discussion right here on the India Development Debate tonight. So thank you each one of you for joining us right here on the debate, and I'll introduce my panel to you. KTS Tulsi, former Additional Solicitor General of India; Shantanu Hussain, former Joint Director CBI; Shaina NC, representing the BJP; and Adil Singh Boparai, representing the Congress Party. Thanks each one of you for being with us. And Mr. Tulsi, I will begin with you. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, who is the counsel for Karti Chidambaram, has very categorically said that Karti is available for questioning. There is no flight risk. He has appeared for questioning several times in the past, and which is why questions are being raised on this sudden custodial arrest. In fact, now the information is flowing in that the CBI has got a one-day custodial arrest for Karti Chidambaram. They've got one-day custody for Karti Chidambaram. But the question is, why was it required? Why was a custodial interrogation required when he wasn't really fleeing the country, when he was making these appearances?
You see, this is a complete misuse of the law. Time and again, the Supreme Court has said that one of the fundamental principles of the Constitution of India is that all accused are presumed innocent and they have a right of silence. You can't compel them to be a witness against themselves. Now, the CBI repeatedly was arguing before the court that he is not cooperating. What do you mean by cooperating? Is it that because the CBI wants the accused to confess, to be a witness against himself? That those are precisely what is prohibited under the Constitution. But our police agencies will not learn 4 years and 10 months after this government came into being, all that they come up against Karti Chidambaram is that he took a kickback of 10 lakh in a case of investment of 300 crore by IMF, INS. So what is this story? It doesn't gel. When they realize that they have got egg on their face, then they bring the confession of a person who is facing charges and trial for her own daughter's murder in most diabolic manner, and then disposal of that dead body.
Okay.
Even if, you see, confession of co-accused is not relevant. It's not admissible under the Evidence Act.
Okay, let me get in.
And confession has been made after so many years.
Okay, I get your point, Mr. Tulsi. If I can interrupt you, before I take it to the politicians on the panel, I want to get a quick word from Shantanu Hussain as well. Are there enough grounds for arrest? What has changed is the confession, is the statement made to the magistrate by Indrani Mukherjee, a co-accused in the scam, who has now said explicitly that a bribe was sought and paid to Karti Chidambaram. So, does that change the equation? Is that enough ground for arrest?
Yes, that's a good ground for arrest. There is a section in the Indian Evidence Act, which is 27 of the Evidence Act, and there you have a right to arrest and from his arrest do an interrogation which leads to seizure of incriminating parts. So, arrest and custodial interrogation are a part of investigation. The question that is legitimately raised is why arrest? After all, you can interrogate him and that can also lead to recovery of facts. Now, the CBI has chosen to arrest after the confession of Indrani Mukherjee. But still the question does remain. After all, one has to come from crime to the criminal. The crime in this case has initially been committed by the officials of the finance ministry. And had they been arrested and subjected to custodial interrogation prior to the arrest of Karti Chidambaram, this question would not have arisen. But arrest is legitimate and arrest leads to custodial interrogation and that leads to incriminating recoveries which are valid under section 27 of the Indian Evidence Act.
Same point well taken, but I'm going to go across to the politicians on the show and to the BJP first. Shaina, and say the Congress claims that this arrest, and it's just one-day custodial, the custody that the CBI has got, is perhaps a classic diversionary tactic to take the attention away from the big bank loot. The government was on the back foot. There was a lot of allegations that were being made in the public domain. The perpetrators of the crime had actually fled the country. And so the Congress party alleges this is a classic diversionary tool. This has happened to deflect the attention away from Nirav Modi.
Supriya, this is such a predictable strategy of the Congress party to play, to cry out loud and say, look at this vendetta politics. Firstly, the Congress party must realize that it is not the Congress Bureau of Investigation, but the Central Bureau of Investigation, which under our dispensation, unlike previous other governments, we have not interfered at all. What the CBI chose to do is on their discretionary powers based on financial irregularities, the fact that you had monies which were dispersed to the tune of 3.5 crores from the INX Media to unknown entities which obviously were beneficiaries for Karti Chidambaram. Now you asked that was this arrest necessary? If there has been tampering with the evidence, if there have been erstwhile officials of the finance ministry who have completely used all kinds of manipulation to tamper with this case, why should the CBI not take what precautionary measures it can so that the evidence is not tampered with? The monies which have been transferred to bogus companies, whether it is one shell company or 100 shell companies, whether the figure is 10 lakhs or whether it is 100 crores. Why should Karti Chidambaram be any different to any other Indian citizen? And this is not a deflectionary tactic. Please do believe me when I say systems are falling in place. The India development debate that you talk about and you would want to talk about, highlight all these positives that are coming out into the public domain, where you had people who were politically insulated, who choose to use all their clout to fudge accounts and to make this kind of a arrest. I don't think we can question the CBI, not you or me can sit on judgment. It is for the Patiala court to
I take your point.
What is the next course of action.
Okay, let the court decide the next course of action. Let Adil Singh Boparai, is the Congress, why is the Congress drawing a parallel to the Nirav Modi case? The government has got enough criticism on that issue. Let's look at the substantive charges when it comes to this case. Here you have a co-witness in the case who has come up front and given a statement to the magistrate that she paid a bribe of $1 million. Does that not provide enough grounds? The CBI claims that Karti Chidambaram did not cooperate with even though he appeared twice between August 2017 and now. The CBI claims that he has not been cooperating with the investigation. Why not let the courts decide the next course of action?
Well, Sandeep, this is political vendetta at its worst. The fact of the matter is the BJP is trying to divert the country's attention from the direct culpability of the Prime Minister in letting Nirav Modi, Mehul Bhai Choksi and Jatin Mehta flee. So this is actually an attempt to divert the media narrative. Now coming to the CBI's bogey that Mr. Chidambaram was not cooperating with the agencies, let me remind Ms. Shaina NC that he has responded to every summon issued by the CBI. He has travelled abroad on the permission, on the orders of the Honourable Supreme Court. If the Supreme Court was not satisfied about his conduct and the fact that he wasn't cooperating with the agencies, the Supreme Court would have not allowed Mr. Karti Chidambaram to travel. Now coming to the merits of the allegation, the CBI FIR says that for allowing or granting permission for a 300 crore rupee downstream investment, the allegation is that Mr. Karti Chidambaram was paid 10 lakh rupees. This by itself is so specious and bogus that it doesn't really need calls for a reply. The fact of the matter is, where is the CBI when it comes to Jai Shah's case, where 50,000 rupees becomes 80 crore rupees in a short span of 10 months? What about the Panama Gate probe, where there are allegations against the Chhattisgarh Chief Minister's son holding foreign bank accounts? What about the Vyapam case, where more than 50 witnesses have been bumped off? Where is the CBI then? What about the Rafale scam, where the Prime Minister of this country goes and makes a foreign announcement, an announcement to purchase aircrafts worth billions of dollars without even the clearance from the CCS? So the fact of the matter is, the BJP today stands clearly exposed. They're trying to divert attention. The Congress party is very confident. Right. This is a bogus case. This is going to fall very soon. But the Prime Minister needs to respond, which is the pertinent matter.
May I respond please quickly?
How is it possible for Nirav Modi and Mehul Choksi to flee the country without the Chaukidar's tacit approval? I think that's the moot point which the BJP is trying to divert by all these antics.
Shaina NC, you wanted to make a point quickly?
It is so typical of the Congress to cry vendetta politics. It is so typical of the Congress to believe that their leaders can do no wrong, and everyone under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi, who has done no wrong, through their jaundiced eyes, they pretend to believe that there is corruption. There has been no allegation of corruption for 4.5 years. You constantly talk about Nirav Modi. This is a loot of a bank, not a loot of the government, unlike your party that has chosen to treat it like it's fiefdom, where its dynasty and its leaders. Who were these erstwhile finance ministry officials who manipulated and tampered with evidence? Who were these people who colluded and received 3.5 crores in all kinds of bogus shell company names? All of these are serious allegations, and why shouldn't the Central Bureau of Investigation, which is a free and fair investigative body, be allowed to investigate the way they choose to? Unlike other governments, we are not sitting here on judgment to say he is guilty or innocent. Let the court decide based on evidence.
Yeah, sure. I don't think anybody is sitting on judgment. I think the question that people are raising is on the agility of the CBI, on the agility of how they have gone about this. But Adil Bopra, you have 30 seconds to respond, because I need to go on the facts of this matter to Mr. Tulsi. Very quickly, you want to make a point there?
You know, it's quite clear that Ms. Shaina NC hasn't read the FIR, the CBI FIR in Nirav Modi's case. Let me remind her for her own information that all the LOUs which are being inquired into were issued in 2017.
But this is not a debate on Nirav Modi.
Research before coming.
Adil, we have done 8 debates on Nirav Modi. Adil, we have done 8 debates on Nirav Modi. Why are we debating Nirav Modi
without security?
Adil, Shaina, I'm going to interrupt you. Adil, Shaina.
2011 and start.
Adil Bopra, this is just to remind you that this debate is not on Nirav Modi. I will dim your audios if you go back on Nirav Modi. This debate is not on Nirav Modi. You made the comparison. Your point has been taken on note. I need to move on to the substantive parts of this case, which is the Karti Chidambaram case. And Mr. Tulsi, one second. Mr. Tulsi, coming to you. No, one second.
That's the root matter.
1 second, Adil. We've moved on from Nirav Modi's case. We've done 10 debates on ET now on this. You can't, we can't be just talking about Nirav Modi here, because we want to talk about substantive parts of this case.
So you may have moved on, but this is our stand.
1 second.
This is a diversionary tactic. You have your right to move on.
We've taken that point. We've taken that point. Let's, KTS.
I have questioned the agility of the CBI, so you can't say we moved on. But Mr. Tulsi, did Karti Chidambaram, as promoter director of Chess Management Services Private Limited, in any manner influence the decision of FIPB in the INX Media case? That's the substantive charge. Did he or did he not?
No. So far as the vouchers are concerned, they add up to 10 lakh. Now, this is an incident of 2007, where the Foreign Investment Promotion Board granted the permission that is granted on the unanimous recommendation of the concerned secretaries. And the question is, now you are trying to pad up the whole thing with the confession of Indrani Mukherjee. Indrani Mukherjee is facing the charge of murder of her daughter in most diabolic fashion. Now, I wish the CBI would read section 10 of the Evidence Act, and also which is interpreted by several constitution benches, including the judgment in Jayendra Saraswati's case. Question is, this can't be relevant. It is zero evidence. The confession of a co-accused is relevant only if it is made at the time of commission of the offence. If it is made after the commission of the offence and after the conspiracy is over, then it is not admissible in evidence, zero evidence. And if this is all that they have to show, they are going to have much more embarrassment. This case doesn't have legs to start walking. What to talk of running? This is, the government is only afraid of facing the parliament when it reopens on the 5th of March. At that time, they just want something to shout about it so that they don't have to answer the Nirav Modi case, the fiasco of the entire government. Running into more than 12,000 crore.
Okay, I take that point. I take that point. A simple question to you, Adil Singh Boparai, which is, according to the FIR filed by CBI, it clearly mentions that while FIPB refused to approve downstream investment in INX, yet investment was made and later services was sought through Karti's firm to ensure the post-investment approval is given. According to the FIR, the proposals were cleared after the downstream investments were made, which is illegal. You know, so the facts are there in the FIR. How can you then accuse the government of carrying out a vendetta? I understand the point that you can question the timing. Why now? Why not 3 months later? Why not 6 months later? How can you question the timing? Can you say that Karti Chidambaram, as the promoter, director of Chess Management Services Private Limited, in no manner influenced the approval of INX Media Limited? That is a substantive issue in this debate. We can keep debating everything else. Did he have an influence in the INX investment approval or not? Yes or no?
Sandeepji, I would urge you to read the FIR in totality. What the CBI FIR, and let me remind you, these are merely allegations at this stage. What the CBI FIR says that initially an investment of 4.36 crore rupees was allowed. Subsequently, there was money invested to the tune of 300 crore rupees. Also, the CBI FIR also mentions that IT notices were sent to this company. How can you lose sight of this? The Revenue Department sent notices to the company asking them that how did you make this additional investment without seeking the approval of the FIPB. The company goes to the FIPB, they make an application, and FIPB doesn't comprise of Mr. Chidambaram alone. It's a committee which comprises of officials across several ministries. So they, in their wisdom, took a decision allowing the subsequent investment. So you have to understand, the IT department did send notices. You haven't mentioned that in your statement. So therefore, there is absolutely no collusion. This is a bogus case. This is a bogus case, and allegations dating back to 2007, 2008. Suddenly, the CBI wakes up on instructions of the Prime Minister so that the media narrative can be diverted because they're facing the heat. Let's face it, you can't see this issue in silos. The BJP today is completely exposed in corruption. Whether it is the bank scam, whether it is the Rafale scam, the country today is demanding answers from Mr. Modi because he promised us that he's going to be the chowkidar of this country.
I don't know where you get your facts
under his
from.
watch, people who are associated with the BJP, who have looted 20,000 crore rupees of public money, Sandeepji, 20,000 crores of public money, and they fled the country. And how does the BJP propose to get them back? That's the moot issue, and they're trying to divert attention from these issues.
Adil, I get your point. You believe there is just no connivance there, but I'll take it to Mr. Sen, who's been at the CBI, and sir, the payment of 10 lakhs was made by INX Media to a certain Advantage Strategic Consulting Limited. in lieu of management consultancy that was charged towards FIPB notification. Now, has the CBI been able to establish that Karti was the indirect owner of this entity? Because the Chidambarams have vehemently denied this. Is there any establishment of ownership just yet?
You see, this question of 10 lakhs payment is not really relevant at the present moment. The question is, the CBI is convinced that the FIPB clearance was not honest. It was illegal. And if CBI has got evidence of that, then only those who have been able to persuade Karti Chidambaram to influence the decision will be held triable. You see, CBI, in my view, should have first completed the investigation from the finance ministry side. I remember the Aircel Maxis case, which was thrown out. The court held the same thing, that the officials of the ministry wrote notes. They are actually responsible. They have not been prosecuted. And the people who are benefited, etc., they have only been prosecuted. That could have been business. So, question legitimately arises, what is the role of the finance ministry people? Has that come to light? Has the FIP been clear as illegal? If that is so, then the role of Karti Chidambaram for having taken this money becomes a part of that conspiracy.
Fair enough.
So, question which is being raised is, why only arrest Karti Chidambaram? Why not start with those who initially committed the offence?
Okay.
Who gave the
approval in the first place.
Gave the decision in favor of INX.
Okay, fair enough. In that case, KTS Tulsi
is that wrong? If that is wrong, they are guilty.
Absolutely. KTS Tulsi, 30 seconds. You know, in that case, the entire FIPB needs to be questioned, needs to be charged. And the person who heads FIPB, of course, was then none other than former Finance Minister P. Chidambaram. His involvement needs to be brought to light as well. And the entire FIPB, which comprised then of, you know, and even of some of the senior most bureaucrats of this government, if I'm not wrong, former RBI Governor D. Subbarao was also, was then probably chairing, was the Finance Secretary. I mean, the role of every, I mean, are we saying then that this is a scam involving all such people and all their roles need to be probed? KTS Tulsi?
No, I can very confidently say that this FIR is self-contradictory. On the one hand, it says there is a kickback. If there is a kickback by as high a person as the son of the finance minister, then the same FIR goes on to allege that there is no specific approval given by FIPB and that INX violated conditions of approval. If they were going to do it as a favor, will they leave loopholes that grant no specific approval and then put such conditions which will have to be violated? Okay. You see, approval would have been perfect if it was done for extraneous reasons. Approval is conditional. Approval is it does not give specific approval.
Right, Mr. Tulsi, I get your
things.
I get your
point. That only shows that the approval was done in the right manner.
Right. Approval was done in the right manner is the word coming from KTS Tulsi. But a quick last word to the BJP representative here. And Shaina, and see, I have a direct pointed question to you. All of this is happening on a day when Nirav Modi has mocked the legal system and said that he's got businesses overseas. He's not coming back to India to cooperate or to answer these questions. I mean, what sort of a corruption crackdown are we talking about when the biggest swindlers of financial white-collar crime like Nirav Modi and Mehul Choksi are overseas partying and God alone knows doing what? We haven't been able to nail them, and here we're talking about a corruption crackdown?
But what makes you think? Supriya, what makes you think that a crime committed right from 2011 under the Congress's nose with their full political insulation is something that the BJP will not crack down on?
Continued under your government.
Modi has the political will to ensure that he is deported 1 minute, let me finish my point. Let's understand that he is a fraud, a cheater and a corrupt to the core, and the Indian government is not going to spare him. Only time will tell when actions speak louder than words. Now coming to this particular case. What has the CBI said? The CBI said that Mr. Karti Chidambaram has not cooperated. His frequent trips abroad, which we all know of, where he suddenly takes off, suddenly comes back, etc. But I think the more important question that we are all missing is the quantum of foreign investment that was more than 305 crores as against the approved 4.62 crores. So now who was politically insulating him? And if there was a role of Mr. Chidambaram, I'm not here to sit on judgment. Let the courts decide if they're guilty or if they're innocent.
Can I get 30
but
seconds,
if you
please,
have
Supriya ji?
investments that have been made with issuance of shares where you have a premium of more than 800 rupees a share, is there not something which is absolutely fishy here?
Okay,
and
I
why
take that
shouldn't
point.
the Central Bureau of Investigation have a free and fair investigation on this particular case?
Okay,
Or
I
any
can
other?
can I have 20
should he only
seconds,
be
please?
absolved
Okay.
because he is the son of the ex-finance
20
minister?
seconds, please.
Okay, Adil, I'm just going to give you 10 seconds. I'm over on time. 10
20
seconds. Adil.
seconds. 20 seconds. Let me remind the BJP that Mr. Karti Chidambaram had travelled abroad on the orders of the Honourable Supreme Court of India. He had filed a petition before the Supreme Court. And on those orders he had travelled abroad. So therefore the BJP should not distort facts.
Fair enough. Point taken. Is this a crackdown on corruption or a crackdown
The
on
BJP has
opposition?
nothing to
Time
do
will
with it.
tell.
This is the CBI, which is an independent agency.
China and Adil, I'm afraid we're out of time. Is this a crackdown on corruption or a crackdown on opposition? Time will tell. But let the courts decide the next course of action. The CBI has made a big move. It's up to the courts to decide, and the guilty, of course, must be punished. But this in no way should allow the government to take its foot off the bigger scam, of course, involving the Nirav Modi case. Hopefully, the government will move swiftly on that as well. Thank you so much to the entire panel for joining us on this edition of the India Development Debate right here on ET Now. Good night.